Today, June 17th, 2025, we're diving deep into a situation that, well, it really has the world on edge. We're talking about the escalating direct military conflict between Israel and Iran. This isn't just another news blip, it's unfolding fast right now with huge global implications. Our mission today really is to sift through all the information, the articles, research your notes, and pull out the critical insights for you. We want to cut through the noise, give you a clear, consolidated picture of what's happening, why it matters, and what to keep an eye on, so you can walk away feeling properly informed, but hopefully not overwhelmed.
Okay, let's try and unpack this.
Right, so to set the scene for you first. This direct conflict, it's now hit its fifth day. Both sides are fully engaged, direct military actions. Israel's calling their operation Rising Lion. And Iran's response is under the banner of Operation Sure Promise the Third.
And what the reports we're seeing indicate, coming from Israel, is this is their largest ever air campaign on Iranian soil. It's unprecedented in scale. The targets, according to various intel assessments, they've been pretty comprehensive. We're talking nuclear facilities, missile launch sites, critical command structures for the IRGC, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, and even hitting state media installations.
Wow. Okay, so a very wide net. And Iran's response?
Well, Iran hasn't held back either. We've seen multiple waves, missile strikes, drone strikes, directly targeting Israeli cities.
Which cities specifically?
The reports consistently mention Tel Aviv, Herzliya, and Haifa being hit.
Right. And the immediate results of these strikes, these back and forths, they seem pretty stark already.
They are. Israel is claiming significant successes. They say they've eliminated senior leaders from the IRGC's Quds Force. That's their elite foreign operations unit.
Including specific names?
Yes. General Ali Shadmani is mentioned specifically, along with several senior nuclear scientists. Major claims.
And on the Iranian side, what sites have been confirmed hit there?
Notable sites confirmed hit in Iran include the Natanz enrichment complex near Tehran, that's a key underground facility for uranium enrichment, and also Iran's state TV headquarters. So strategic and symbolic targets.
And the human cost in all this? What are the numbers being reported? It's often hard to verify, I know.
It is, and what's truly insightful here, I think, isn't just the raw numbers, but how quickly these casualty figures become part of the information war. Each side reports very differently. So Iran is reporting approximately 224 killed, claiming mostly civilians, and over 1,200 injured.
Okay.
Israel, on the other hand, reports 24 civilians killed and nearly 600 injured.
That's a huge contrast.
It is. It highlights how tough it is to get an objective picture on the ground and, frankly, how each narrative is carefully constructed.
Beyond those numbers, what about the situation for ordinary people, say, in Tehran? What are we hearing?
The information paints a really vivid and, frankly, chaotic picture. Reports describe a mass exodus from the city.
People just trying to get out.
Exactly. Roads, completely gridlocked. Widespread fuel shortages are being reported. Communication blackouts in many areas. Even the historic bazaars have apparently closed their doors. And people are trying desperately to evacuate, heading towards the northern provinces for safety.
Just a picture of immense disruption and fear.
Absolutely. And this conflict, while the fighting is regional, its international dimensions are immediate and critical. They're already playing out globally.
Like the U.S. involvement or potential involvement?
Well, the U.S. posture is very prominent. Former President Trump, who's attending the G7 summit, has been quite vocal. He's calling for Iran's unconditional surrender. That's the quote. And also stating publicly the U.S. has, quote, complete control of the skies over Iran.
Strong words. But are they actually involved in the strikes?
That's the key distinction they're making. We've seen the deployment, a carrier strike group, destroyers near Iran. Significant military presence. But the official line is that the U.S. is not directly participating in the strikes themselves. These are the statements and actions being reported.
That's a fascinating duality, isn't it? Declaring complete control of the skies while insisting on non-participation in strikes. How is that perceived based on the material? Does it complicate things?
It's a crucial point, yeah. Intelligence assessment suggests that while the U.S. obviously wants to project strength, deter Iran, support Israel, that nuance of not directly participating can get lost, especially on the ground or for regional actors. It creates this perception of an overwhelming U.S. presence, which some might interpret as, well, de facto involvement.
It's a kind of shadow participation?
Perhaps. Or others might see it as strategic restraint. It's a very, very fine line they seem to be walking, trying to influence the outcome without getting dragged into direct fighting. The messaging is definitely complex.
And those global ripples, they go way beyond military posturing, right? the economy?
Oh, immediately. We're already seeing significant economic repercussions. Oil prices jumped over $1 per barrel almost straight away.
Just based on fear.
Purely market fears. Fear of a major disruption to energy supplies coming out of the Middle East. It shows how interconnected everything is.
It really does.
And you can see how quickly this regional fight ripples worldwide in other ways, too. Look at the evacuations.
Ah, yes, the evacuations. That signals serious concern.
Widespread international concern. We're seeing global evacuations already happening. Countries like China, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, various EU nations, Pakistan.
They're all pulling citizens out.
Actively pulling citizens out, yes. We've even seen specific reports, like Birthright organizing ships to evacuate Americans from Israel. And Pakistan's embassy is coordinating efforts for its citizens still in Tehran. It really highlights this broad fear of instability spreading.
Okay, so we've covered the current status, the immediate impacts, the global ripples. But looking ahead, here's where it gets really interesting, perhaps worrying. What are the key uncertainties? What should we be watching?
I think one of the most critical questions, based on our intelligence, is whether this conflict spreads regionally. That's the big one.
You mean involving other groups, other countries?
Specifically, Hezbollah. They're the significant Iranian ally in Lebanon. Currently, reports suggest they're staying out of the direct fighting. But there are indications, statements suggesting they might join Iran if the conflict continues or escalates significantly.
Which would be a major escalation.
A huge escalation. It really raises the potential for this to become a much wider regional war, pulling in many more players. That's a key point to watch.
Definitely. And given the targets mentioned earlier, nuclear facilities, what information do we have about damage to those sensitive sites?
That's another major concern. The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN's nuclear watchdog, they have reported significant damage.
Worse specifically?
At both the Natanz and the Fordo facilities in Iran. Natanz, as we said, key enrichment site. Fordo is known for being buried deep underground, hardened.
So the strikes potentially reached it.
The reports suggest significant damage at both. The exact extent and what it means long-term for Iran's nuclear program. That's something that IAEA is obviously monitoring incredibly closely.
And beyond the physical strikes, the bombs and missiles, there's this other dimension in modern conflict, isn't there? The cyber front.
Absolutely. Less visible, perhaps, but critically important. Cyber and electronic warfare.
What are we seeing there?
Well, our information points to Israeli cyber strikes hitting Iran's financial systems, causing real disruption, impacting daily transactions for people.
And Iran's response in that domain.
Iran seems to be trying to lock things down internally, actively restricting communications within the country. They've even gone as far as urging citizens to delete messaging apps like WhatsApp from their phones, trying to control information flow amidst the chaos.
Fascinating. So it's a multi-front conflict in the truest sense.
It really is. So what does this all mean for you, trying to synthesize these really urgent developments? The core situation is this. Direct military conflict between Israel and Iran continues. It's day 5. There are significant casualties reported by both sides. A difficult humanitarian picture emerging. And it's undeniably an ongoing international crisis. You've got heightened military tensions, these widespread global evacuations we mentioned, growing economic impacts, and alongside all that, increasing calls from world leaders for de-escalation.
Yeah. In this deep dive, we really aim to give you that clear, consolidated view of these latest developments. Cutting through some of the noise based on the material we've looked at, we've seen the immediate, stark realities from the physical strikes on cities, on vital infrastructure like nuclear sites, to the cyber warfare hitting financial systems, and then those ripple effects hitting global markets, driving evacuations, shaping diplomacy. And as you consider all these interconnected pieces all moving so fast, it really does raise a profound question, doesn't it? What truly determines the end of a conflict like this one, when the battlefields aren't just physical places but also digital networks, economic systems, and maybe more importantly, what are the long-term ripple effects? The consequences we'll only begin to fully grasp years down the line.